a minute. Hey, you guys. It is a Saturday night, and I plan on doing a couple of live chats because I have like 4 topics to do with you guys, but I'm going to break them up, one live chat at a time because that makes sense to me. But yeah, nobody's perfect. Everybody has flaws. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a narcissist blind spots / weaknesses. All right. You can use these things to your advantage if you feel like you are, in a situation where you have to work with them or, have any type of exchange with them. Okay. So this is a good video to increase your emotional maturity. And also I want to make a video like this because over the years, I just feel like we give them too much credit. Like, in my opinion, or, from what I'm seeing about them, they're really cowards. They're really cowards. They have a certain kind of a higher level of self-awareness. They lack that, the higher levels. Okay. We're not talking about shallow things like, oh, I can go manipulate somebody. I'm talking about higher level of thinking as far as understanding spiritual laws, seeing the big picture of things, thinking about who they really have to answer to, the true cost of their behaviors, the real ripple effects that come back around on their asses, So, yeah, they have some blind spots. Now, what I'm going to say, these things that I'm going to mention in this video, depending on where this narcissist is on the spectrum of narcissism, like on the worst end, we have the psychopaths who tend to be a lot of bit more intelligent, but they still have blind spots too. Because like I said, no human being, no matter if they're a narcissist or not, is perfect. So there's going to be a blind spot somewhere, somehow. All right. So lower range narcissists probably have all of these problems, even in going into a mid-range one, but the further up the scale, they may have these problems, but it may not be as much to their detriment, or they may have some type of awareness of it. But will they, how well can they keep it under control? That's going to depend on them at that point. So we can go ahead and get into that. Get into the talk, you guys. And in no particular order, just as they were coming into my mind is how I jotted these things down. All right. So what are narcissist blind spots or their weaknesses and their disadvantages? Number 1 is comparing you to everyone else. Yeah. They kind of strip people of their ability to have uniqueness and individuality. Like they can bump into someone that's actually out of the box and not just following the crowd type of thing. And it actually sets them up to be blindsided at that point. If they assume that you're going to respond like everybody else, if they're assuming that you think like everybody else are, basically something like that. And along those lines, we can just talk about them judging books by the cover. They try to group people into quick categories. And although they can usually be pretty spot on with it, they're not always correct with that because somebody can look one way and be another way. I mean, look at them. I mean, they're obviously, when they come into people's lives, they're looking one way and they're actually completely something else. So isn't it crazy? That's a blind spot that they don't think you're like that per se. They may not think you're doing it, but they're absolutely doing it, which is stupid. Like you're doing it. You don't think other people. And it's not even that you're trying to deceive them. It's just them trying to put people in boxes before they really even know you. All right. But yeah, comparing everyone to everyone else. That's definitely a blind spot. Another thing is them just jumping into other lanes and trying to compete where they don't compare. They'll get in competition with other people. And this is a blind spot, but the competition that they're creating is someone else's gift. is jumping into somebody else's lane. It's not even their own lane. Let people go ahead and compete with your shadow side. Like if you are the best thief, then, go get a bigger heist or something. But no, they try to jump over into the light side sometimes and compete with your gift with pretty much not much, maybe mimicking you or pretending to be you or something. Yeah. They'll compete with your gift and create a competition you may not even know is going on. But, again, they're competing where they don't compare by hopping into other people's lane. All right. And at the end of the day, your gift is your gift, just as their gifts are their gifts. You can't steal somebody's gift. You can't mimic it. You can't. All you can do is attempt to copy. All right. The next thing, you guys, I have on here is their self-importance, or basically being self-centered. When you're so focused on yourself, you're not paying attention to your environment like you should be. And this is another way that they may not see other people coming. Being too focused on themselves. The next thing, overestimating their true capabilities. Yeah. When you overestimating your abilities and you're underestimating others, you're going to give less effort than necessary to pull something off. So if they are trying to manipulate a situation or get something done, they may perceive that they have to put less effort into doing it than they actually would need to. And then they might perceive that they're doing better at it than they actually are, if that makes sense. All right. The next thing, they can actually be predictable. I mean, the fact that we can just see them do these cycles of abuses, or we know the cycle of abuse pattern, which is what the love bomb, the devalue, and the discard, that makes them pretty darn predictable. So there is definitely an element of predictability to people like this. And then once you get to know that particular narcissist, you have a few exchanges with them, or you see them operate even through one round of their whatever's the cycle of abuse, you'll get to see how they respond to triggers. And they're literally will be doing the same thing every time. It'll be crazy. It's crazy. They're literally doing it the same way. Like you'll be able to it's not even you predicting, you'll know how they're going to react to this because it's the same way that they were reacting to it before. The other thing, you guys, is they will believe fake flattery. Yeah, because when you're puffing yourself up like that, it means they could be love bombed. A narcissist can actually be love bombed at that point because they want to be, get these compliments anyway. So they'll believe it because it's in alignment with the mask that they want to have. So you could actually draw them in that way with the fake flattery and making it seem sincere. So in that way, they love bomb other people, and other people can actually love bomb them too, because you're speaking their language. It's another way to look at that. Like now you're speaking my language. And like a moth to a flame, they want to feel good. They want to feel whole. And because they need other external things outside of them to make that happen, because they're not doing the work internally because they're too shallow and they don't want to take that accountability. And at that point, it's probably a lot to be facing anyway. Who really likes to go through a dark night of the soul? I'm sure they don't want to, but it would require it minimally. And with that being said, just like you can love bomb them or they'll believe these fake flatteries, they can be bought. Maybe not a psychopath, but all the rest of them, they can be bought, and maybe even a psychopath, because it depends on what they're valuing at that point. What this person values matters. So if they have a price, their dignity is just down to the wayside. But if they have a price, that means they can be bought. It's something very powerful about a person that they don't have a price, meaning you can't just buy them for stuff. Okay. The next thing, you guys, they're definitely overly optimistic. And the overly optimistic part is them thinking that they'll get another chance, meaning you will do another cycle of abuse with them, or that, you'll take them back. Or the overly optimistic part can be that they won't get caught. They may be overly optimistic. And if you're overly optimistic, you're not really preparing to lose a battle. You're not preparing, for shit to hit the fan, really. So that's something to consider as well. Next thing, they're spiritually weak by default. All right, they're spiritually weak. Now, their vessels are being used for dark energy. Their vessels are, defiled with demons and demonic entities. True, true, true. But it's always going to be spiritually weak by default because they're on the wrong team. Nothing is greater than God's light. No level of evil is greater than God's light, period. So because they're always on the wrong team, they're always going to be spiritually weak by default. All right. The next thing, you guys, I want to talk about the overkill. Sometimes they just don't know when to stop. And that comes back to bite them in the behind because they end up exposing themselves. Let's say somebody's been committing a crime and they've been getting away with it for X amount of times, but they did it that one more time. If they would have stopped, they wouldn't have gotten caught. So basically, they're putting themselves in positions where they're going from being covert to pretty much overt. And they may not even be doing this intentionally, but it's a level of greed there and a level of entitlement that's, going to be attached to this type of energy. And a destructive nature, of course. So this wanting to overkill things, overdoing, that's another way. Being vengeful, it ties in with that. That was the next thing, just being vengeful, you guys. It's the same type of energy behind that. Next thing, they misvalue things all the time. Like throughout the years, I always talk about casting pearls before swine. So they lose powerful alliances because they're always mishandling people. And they're going to mishandle the things that they misvalue. So if they really they don't see the true value of things, which I believe in the last live chat I was saying sometimes, or was it 2 live chats ago, whatever the one was about why doesn't a narcissist see your worth? And the first thing I said is sometimes spirit or God will hide you in plain sight, meaning, yeah, they're going to see you, but they're not going to see everything about you. And then sometimes, we don't lead with that because we know people are opportunists anyway, right? But yeah, they lose powerful alliances by mishandling people. And you can even tell them what it is and they'll still misvalue it because they're placing value in other things. They're not valuing, oh, this person's a good friend. This person is, whatever it is, intangible things, they're not putting the proper value on that because they're more than likely just really focused on getting to tangible things. And they're making that more valuable. They end up mishandling the people that could, actually could give them that, because they don't understand that intangible things are leading to the tangible things. And that's a blind spot. So them being emotionally immature is definitely a blind spot. And a lot of people may think that narcissists are emotionally mature just because they manipulate people. No, that doesn't make them emotionally mature. It doesn't, because when you think about it, they're actually, a lot of times, the stuff that they're doing to other people, they end up doing it to themselves and drawing it into themselves. And they weren't emotionally mature enough to overcome their shadow sides, to even face their shadow sides. They have a weakness there. And then they have an opposite way of looking at things as well, because if you think about it, when they think, let's look at the cycle of abuse. And let's say this narcissist is discarding you. They think this is a punishment. It's only a punishment to your toxicity. It's an improvement for your well-being. The longer they discard you, the longer they're staying away from you. They're actually giving you an opportunity to actually heal and recover from the abuse and the trauma. So they're not emotionally mature enough because they're just trying to punish you in a shallow way. They're punishing the energy, the toxic energies that they want to thrive with you with. And they're hoping to stimulate it so that you'll get back with them. But in emotional maturity, the way that they're doing it is actually each time that they're discarding you, they're giving you an opportunity to actually break free, to actually decide to heal, to actually, decide to never go back again. So what ends up when they're trying to break you, they end up making you. And not only, you'll get to the point where you had enough and you won't go back, you'll start healing, but you'll be wiser for it because of the experience as well. So there's a lot of emotional immaturity with narcissists. If we all, we want to look at it in the most mature, evolved, big picture manner. Okay. The next thing, you guys, their need for instant gratification, it fucks them up a lot. It really does. Unless they're a psychopath, chances are they don't know how to play the long game. And then also, a lot of this stuff bites them in the butt later in life too. Old narcissists, like they've just done so much in their youth and middle age because they're not thinking of the long game. By the time they're old, a lot of them are dying alone, unless they were so covert that maybe some people didn't know about it. But I don't know. It's not that often that a narcissist get to go their whole life without being exposed, really, because there's a mental illness that's not being treated, which is further on the list that we might as well just talk about now as a blind spot, not treating their mental illness, not because, that has to get worse over time when it's not being treated. Their brain is just further deteriorating. The demons inside of them is further draining them, honestly, just like they're draining other people. And that's why I have to say the stuff that they're doing to other people, it's probably already been done to them because a lot of times they're becoming their abuser. They could have done the work and gotten the light, but instead they become their abusers a lot of times. A lot of times they have a bad history. And then some of it can just really be genetic as well. Like there's some research on it, not as much as there probably needs to be at this point, but yeah, their need for instant gratification can make them even just expose themselves instantly, especially if they have no restraint. The other thing, you guys, they often want to be first versus right, and this is, again, it kind of goes back to that emotional immaturity. Too much wit, put a purple heart, which I love. You guys will see me using purple hearts a lot. And it just means bravery and honor, the color purple for me. Hers says it's a choice. They know how to behave when they're ready. Yeah, but it's not from a sincere place. So yes, they can go through the motions. They can, but it can be to a point where someone can be out of control as well. So, them appearing a certain way, going through the motions, making it look this way, putting up a front or act, putting another mask on, But yeah, they often want to be first versus right, So that sets a person up to be strong and wrong. And then, falling into delusions and illusions, which is further down on the list too of their blind spots. Because when you're running off of illusions and delusions, you're not in reality. So you're already going to make your plots and your plans are already set up to be self-sabotaged at that point because you're not even in reality. All right. The next thing, their dependency on others. Narcissists are very codependent, you guys. So they're on a hamster wheel as well. Because remember, they're not healing their trauma bonds and they don't want to. So their need for supply, that's a dependency on others to fill voids within them because they haven't done the work. That's definitely a blind spot. And while they're acting like other people need them so much, in reality, they're the ones in dire need. At least you're willing to eventually do the work and heal and get out of whatever you thought you needed them for or whatever you were using them for. But their ability to self-soothe, their ability to turn in, their ability to stand on their own and be by themselves, their ability to not care about what other people think, it's definitely a blind spot because they care too much. They're basically ran by that. They need people's perceptions. They need it. They feel like they need it anyway. I'll put it that way. The next thing, you guys, they have unrealistic standards. This is basically when they get with somebody and treat them like an object. We hear this all the time. That's basically wanting somebody to behave like a machine or a robot. Go, 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 more, more, more. Burning people out. Not, they're dehumanizing. Basically, they dehumanize others. And that's not a realistic standard. I mean, if you are going to have supply, how are you going to keep it that way? Even somebody that has a mule knows they have to let the mule rest. The mule needs food and water, And even when they're leaving you for another supply, like during that discard, they're not really trying to have you rest. They're trying to punish you. Now, that's another type of energy that they would want you to be exerting at that time when you're stressed out and in their mind falling apart and all these other things. You're not getting rest. They're trying to turn up the abuse at that point. So they're constantly, it's very unrealistic standards to be doing this to any human being. I mean, goodness, it's not even logical. And this is why they have to have so many people. Because they know they put a lot on others. They're a burden, They're burdening people energetically, financially, physically, psychologically, emotionally. Goodness. And then on top of that, they're not balancing out their karma. That's another one of their blind spots. You can't just go around ignoring universal laws, treating everybody the way you want to, which is with a poor character, and you're not balancing it out. So you're just accumulating all this bad karma, and you got to pay. You're going to have to pay up on that at some point. Like there's good karma and there's bad karma, but they're racking up a lot of bad karma. And they're just doing this unconsciously or consciously, because I feel like they don't believe in God. You can't. And if they do, they believe they're greater than them. And then at that point, it's like you can't believe in them because you're not in reality with this, buddy. You're a grain of salt, like a drop. And if we were to like zoom out of the galaxy and here's the narcissist, this human being, and we zoom all the way up into the galaxy, like you can't even see the narcissist. You're not even a speck in the whole grand scheme of the universe. Hers says they feed off negative and positive energy. They do. They absolutely do. So if they can't get you to like them, but they can get you to argue with them, they still got your energy for the day, and they'll be happy that they upset you. So absolutely, they will feed off of positive, negative and positive energy. And we could actually look at that as a blind spot, because if they like to feed off a negative energy, they could be easily baited while they're trying to bait you into something. They're baiting themselves and exploiting themselves with their poor behavior. Now sometimes they might do it in a covert manner where they're staying calm and they're trying to push your buttons and say things so that you're the only one exploding. But I'm talking about in instances where they're not that controlled. All right. The next thing is their lack of gratitude, of course. That's definitely a blind spot. As I mentioned earlier, them being greedy, that puts them in a position of not knowing when to stop, especially when they're breaking the law or when they're getting away with something that they shouldn't be doing, abusing others. They start getting obsessive and compulsive and manic with things, and they're exposing themselves because they weren't satisfied. There wasn't enough gratitude for the abuse you did do. Like, you just had to do more. And again, that's the unrealistic sense of entitlement. Like, all of these things is all like tying in, you guys. The next thing, the need for excessive admiration, that could actually draw undue attention to them that they may not need to be drawing to themselves. So if you need this excessive admiration, but yet everything that you're doing is built on lying and cheating and manipulating, aren't you then drawing too much attention to you? Like, okay, you're going to get the attention, but how long will it be before they get a glimpse of something else while they're giving you that attention that you don't want them to see? You see what I'm saying? Hold on a minute. Let me see what the heck is going on. I hear something real quick. Hold on, you guys. Oh, no, come on. Aw. I heard it. Mimi had a little boo-boo. You feel better? Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's sound now, you guys. I had to mute because I heard Nene Nay. She had bumped her head, so I was just checking on her. Yeah. Yeah, okay. You know how you got to love on them a little bit, make sure they're okay. But yeah, I was just talking about their need for excessive admiration, you guys, before I left, and how that draws attention to them in a way that they don't need to be. You know, they're only thinking about that one angle, like, yeah, you're going to get this admiration, but now someone might actually see something else you got going on too while they're looking. Hold on a minute. Dang, really? Sheesh, absolute, you guys, that was the 18 things that I had on my list. I was like, dang, like, I really get to the point. Maybe I can tie in, I can edit the topic of this live chat and tie it in to an example of healing through a situation. You know, it could be somewhat of a story time, a very general one. So here's the story time, you guys. And can I edit it right here? I think I can. I'll come back. Cynthia says they feed off of negative and positive energy. Absolutely. Yep, we went over that. And Just Be Real says, thank you for all you do for us. Oh, you guys are welcome, but I got something to tell you. And this is going to just be very general, but this is something that I actually experienced in my life. And this is an example of, you know, really releasing a situation and not letting it devastate your life. Somebody got really close to me, and I mean really close to me in life. And it started out with them being very supportive of the work that I do here on the channel, like extremely supportive. And me and this person connected on a really high level, you guys. Like, we had a very close relationship. And come to find out, this person's, I inspired them, and they wanted to get into the work that I was in. So this person got really close with me so that they could start doing similar work for themselves. They were always asking me questions and, how do you do this? How do you do that? And, I gave them their foundations for learning about narcissistic abuse and whatnot. Like, I just basically, I showed, shared with them what I knew. For my room. And come to find out, behind the scenes, this person had started like a secret channel across different social medias. And every time that I would like post content, they would have a rebuttal for it. And they wanted to crack into it, but they did it like in a very unsavory way, where they were saying that I was a narcissist. It was crazy. Like, they were talking about the content that I was, everything that I had taught them, but then saying that I was a narcissist and making me the subject. Like, they couldn't just do the work and help others. They had to make me the main focus, me and my family and friends, basically, because this person was pretty close to me. And that was crazy. The person literally made like thousands of posts. And because of the nature of our relationship, every time we had like a disagreement, they would like go online and plaster stuff. And I didn't see this stuff until after the fact, because the social media platform that they chose to do it on was one that I used the least, or really not at all. So once I found out what the person had been doing, of course, I ended the relationship with them. But it was definitely a betrayal. And to this day, the person is in the narcissistic abuse community, still saying that I'm a narcissist, still posting about me on a pretty much a regular basis, still being very defensive, meaning like every time I make a post, they might have something to say about it, But honestly, there's a lot of people in the community that may actually be narcissists. And I'm not talking about the ones that are self-proclaimed or diagnosed, that are out with it and say, hey, I'm a narcissist. No, I'm talking about people that are pretending to be empaths or pretending to be light workers who are in the community. And this is how they're getting their supply. And this is also how they protect their image, or they attempt to protect their image. So I prayed and I meditated on this situation for quite some time. And you know what? You know what God actually told me at the end of the day? My prayers, I'm just going to just tell you how the healing process was for this, because this is a person that has slept in my bed, ate at my table, hugged my children, told my family, how much they love us and all these things. And meanwhile, they were betraying us and, making up things, stretching truths, like just being a very bad person. Okay. Being a narcissist, basically, acting very narcissistic. My prayers initially, when I first found out about the situation, the prayer was, can you stop this person from doing it? And then through the healing process, the prayer became, okay, well, just give me the strength to not be bothered by this. And then actually the prayer went from that to, you know what? Bless this person. Because when you're doing something like this, you guys, feeling all this hate, because you could clearly go into the narcissistic abuse community and help others without trying to slander or defame or evilize or tear down somebody else's business. You can go into the community and help others without doing that. So there's a lot of evilness, and there was a lot of projection and just a lot of lies and false claims. So this person isn't very happy. All right. The prayer went from helping me to be strong to get through stuff, because that's what you need. You need strength in life. Give me the strength. Give me the wisdom. The prayer then actually went to, you know what, bless this person. Make this person happy and whole. Like, give this person, send them on to the next phase, because they were dragging out their connection with me, meaning they were using my name so much. They just couldn't keep it out of their mouth. And it was like, that was the fuel to get other people's attention in this situation. You know, it's like, look, just stand on your own, whatever you want to call that. Just keep me out of it. Do what you do. Can you do it without adding my name? Can you do it without me being your subject matter, left and right all day long? So, you know, like 6,000 posts later, which is very manic, by the way, the prayer just basically became, you know what, bless this person. Make this person feel whole, or send them into the next chapter so they won't be so stuck on whatever, you know, the interactions they have with me. Let them have closure. Let them agree to an ending so that they can move on with their life. You know, this person didn't want to do this. And I know that's crazy. There was times in my emotional maturity where I would never pray for anybody for the wellness of a person who betrayed me. I would stay neutral. I would literally stay neutral. And I wouldn't pray against them, but I'm not praying for your happiness. Because in my mind, like, you don't really deserve it. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to leave it there. But, you know, through the years, I actually evolved past that. And I was actually able to begin to pray for this person, their happiness. And it set me free in a certain way. It really did. It actually set me free. And upon meditating on the situation, you know what God ended up telling me? He said, you know what, Lakia?
Is that Casey?
He literally said kind of what I was just telling you guys. He was like, you know, there's so many fakesters in the community, but I'm using them anyway. It's not like what this person is saying is touching you, meaning it's not like you believe it. It's not hurting you. Like, it's not affecting your self-esteem. It's not touching your business. It's not going to stop anything that I have for you. So you don't have to even concern yourself with that if the person is just keeping it where they're keeping it right now, you know, being attention seeking and, you know, trying to build their platform off of, you know, slandering you in a certain way, is not to a point where you need to really be bothered with it, honestly. And they said, and God was like, you know what, I'm using this person still. I'm using them because even though they're lying on you, it is situations that's actually happening to people. And that's how they're building somewhat of an audience. You know, people are connecting with what they're saying because they don't know the person is lying. But what they do know is they've been in that position themselves. You know, they don't know you. They don't know that person, you know. So it was just revealed to me how even that person is being used for good. And he was like, you don't really care about it like that. And I don't. You know, to me, it's just more of a principle because it's not an emotional thing for me. Like, I don't, you know, like it's not hurting me. It's just more of a principle thing. But yeah, he was like, put your ego to the side a little bit. Like this person is helping other people through while they're being a narcissist, they're actually still helping other people because it's situations that other people are going through. So it's kind of like a sacrificial lamb type of thing in that particular situation. But it's a true story. The person is on TikTok, by the way. They don't really have the stamina to really do YouTube because, on TikTok, you could be more popcorny. You can just talk for like 10 seconds or, you can say something real fast. On YouTube, you need to be able to have a fucking sentence. You need to be able to like stand on it a little bit better and have some clear thoughts and follow throughs that, when you're faking a funk, you're not going to be too good at that. But at the end of that situation, I ended up just feeling pretty released in myself. God gave me some additional projects that aren't even related to the narcissistic abuse community. Like basically, he's pulling me in another direction in a certain way. Although I'm always gonna like be coming on the channel when I need to, do stuff. But it's not like my only life calling. I have so many things that I'm called to do. Stuff even, that person has no idea about. And that they would never even be able to mimic that. They're mimicking this, but they can't really mimic it. They can attempt to mimic it, but the other stuff is just in a whole completely different lane. But that's the thing about the internet. Anybody can get on here and say and do anything. That's the gift and the curse of the internet. And people, they don't know. You could be supporting a full-blown narcissist and not even know it because you don't know that person personally, but what they say is resonating with you. But yeah, I've experienced all types of stuff being on the internet. Like I've had people in the narcissistic abuse community try to connect with me or want to do things with me. And if I didn't want to do it with them, they slandered the shit out of me. Yes, there were at least 2 channels that did that to me. One of them made like a 4-part series years ago. Who's on here day one that remember this shit? Some girl named Holly. I don't even know what the hell. And the crazy thing was she was a black girl. I was like, it ain't even that many black people in doing this work. Like, why? It was so messed up. Like, you're attacking me. We're the minorities. I feel like a lot of time black content creators tend to have to work a little bit harder on YouTube. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. She was attacking me and I was like, what the hell? Like, I've never even had a conversation with this person. And she literally made a 4-part series on her channel, putting me down like crazy. And then that white girl, Kim Wilson, did it to me too. Now, I remember she emailed me and asked me to do something with her. And I didn't want to. I declined it. But because I declined it, she had some shit to say about me too. I was like, damn, it made me view them differently. With the Kim Wilson, I actually had watched a few of her videos in the past because I thought she was funny talking about Trevor. Like, to me, it was so funny. She had a very comedic way of explaining shit. And I thought it was funny. But after that experience with her, I'm like, girl, are you the damn narcissist? Like, are you serious? Like, I do have the freedom of will to say yes or no, sweetie. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, you have to have thick skin anytime that you're going to put yourself out there in a public platform. Or, you could see this with any actresses and singers and, they gain 5 pounds, people talking about their weight. Like, people, that stuff where kids are cruel, that shit don't end. Some adults, some kids, they stay emotionally stunted and then they become adults and, they're still doing stuff. But you have to know, the risk involved when you choose to do this type of work. People will try to come up but I'm not new to this. I'm true to it, bitch. Anybody, like, I'm sincere. But and I'm solid within myself. So nothing like the stuff that I tell you guys that applies to me too. If the whole world told me I was a piece of shit, I would still be happy inside because I don't answer to the world, I answer to God, you know? That's who I answer to. And that's why, everything, the decisions that I make in my life, and when people come up against me, I understand it on a high level because I make it my business to understand it. Friends and family, they keep you comfortable, but it's true. Your enemies, they help you move. They help you with movement. Anytime someone's coming up against you to betray you, and it's been true in my life too, it's always been a catalyst to something greater in my life, whether it's, a higher version of myself or helping me tap into another project, transitioning me into other things that God wants me to be doing. Like, for real, it's always been a blessing. But yeah, that is a true story. Crazy. I have experienced a lot of BS with people, which is why I keep my circle small current day. I've never needed a lot of people, but it's been even more so the truth as I've gotten a little bit older in life. Because it's a lot of energies. And when you're a creative person, you have to be careful about that. Because bringing the wrong person in your energy can set you back, I had to go through a whole situation of getting that person who betrayed me, getting them out of my life. And during that time, I was less on the channel. I really was. Because my energy had to be put on just getting them the fuck out of here. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot going on, you guys, along with just the regular things that I even go through. The regular responsibilities that we have in America. Cynthia Ava says, the aftermath of my relationship with my daughter's father, the narc, has really messed me up. I'm still healing, and it's a very slow process. Yeah, well, first of all, Cynthia, I don't talk to myself like that, like saying it really messed me up. I mean, it's good to acknowledge, I have some things to address, and the slow process is still a process. And the slow process may not be a bad process. I mean, I know when you're feeling it, it's like, you want to jump. It just means you're not skipping steps. You're really addressing things. And it could be an indication of you, really getting it right, hopefully. And hopefully it's not an indication of you being stagnant. That would be the worst end of that. But a slow process means you're really addressing everything and taking your time with the healing process, which is not a rush, it's not a sprint. And I believe back in the day, I used to say, like, sometimes it could take people 18 months, but everybody's different. And it depends on how many years you've been in that situation. And it definitely it definitely depends on your approach, because if you have good intentions, but you're doing the wrong process in your shadow work, then no, you're not going to heal as fast. And it also depends on your real readiness mentally of getting through the grieving process and understanding that as well. Like, it's a lot of variables in how quick somebody's going to get over a situation. Because a lot of times, even like in a situation of divorce, by the time you get the divorce papers, you've already went through a certain amount of the grieving process. It didn't just start then. It started back before you might have even filed, when you had to, come to terms with you even had to filing it. So, everyone has their own timeline, but it doesn't have to be that slow. When I see people, and it's going super slow, like, if you are day one and you feel like you haven't progressed that much, like, we have to evaluate, what's going wrong in that. Because these people weren't meant to have to, stay a part of all these new chapters of your life, or you're still trying to wrap up a chapter with them, or not having them spill into the new energies and the new stuff that's coming into your life. So you don't want to be stagnant. Cynthia Ava says, I used to pray for God to put another person in my ex-narc's life so he would no longer focus on me. Will it happen? Yeah. And that's smart, because a lot of people, they get torn apart when this person leaves. So you were smart enough to understand, them actually having somebody else means that they're not zeroing in on you like they were, if at all. So that's smart. That's smart. And because there's billions of people, that narcissist can be used as a catalyst to help someone else who may have been in a similar energy that you were in when you first met that narcissist, or maybe have like a similar amount of lessons that they could experience through that person, kind of like you did, because that's basically what they're being used for. Even though they're shitty people, like I said, they get used to sharpen other people and lighten other people. And at the same time, every time they're getting an opportunity to make a choice, because they don't have to choose to continue the path. They don't have to keep, entrenching that into their subconscious. They can choose to go another way, as hard as it might be. It's hard for you too, to break your trauma bonds and deal with whatever, was keeping you stuck in how many cycles of abuses. You have to face yourself too. So they're getting an opportunity to choose another way of being as well. But yeah, I'm gonna edit this title, I guess, to put that on here. And I'll give this a couple of minutes, you guys, if anyone has a question about their situation. If anyone's just coming in, of course you can replay this. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to edit the title of this live chat. You guys might hear a little bit of kids in the background. Number one, I cannot keep the kids from my neighborhood away from my home. I can't, because they love it over here. And the twins have a 15-foot trampoline. And the kids, they like to come get in it. And they will be in it for hours. And I mean hours. So what are we going to title this? The Narcissist Blind Spots / Weaknesses. I'll put and an example of healing. After betrayal. Yeah, we'll say it like that. Because they don't give you that many characters anyway. So I'm going to save those changes. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of myself, because it's very easy to tap into a lower range. That doesn't take any type of strength at all. But to take the high road, you guys, to really lean into your emotional maturity, to really let God lead your way in life, to really just let go of just let go of the situation, It's great, because at the end of the day, I could still say that I love that person, I still actually love that person. That's my relationship with God. I still love that person. Will I ever fuck with them again? Absolutely not. But do I love them? Sure. I still love that person. They're talking about me right now, and I still love that person. But I will not commingle with them. I will not, bring them back into my life. But I'm not going to talk about them and their family. I'm not going to have ill will towards them, because I'm not blocking my blessings. I'm leveling up. God is promoting me based off of my ability to deal with people. He's like, how can I make you a household name? How can I do that? You can't even deal with this one little person that's acting immature and, saying stupid stuff about you. You can't even deal with one person doing that, but yet you want to do this, that, and the third. You have to be able to deal with it. Anyone that puts themselves out in the public's eye, celebrities get slammed all the time. There's vloggers and people who don't even know them just making up stories and narratives about their life. So don't ask for the success, don't ask for the promotion and elevation if you can't take the shit that come with it. You're not ready then. You're not ready. And for me, because I am a psychology junkie and I did get a chance to get to know this person psychologically, I see what's going on. Like I said, this person was very inspired by me, but for some reason they felt like in order for them to be able to have a platform, they had to slander minds or put me down or, I think they thought that I was going to do that to them. No. No, there's nothing, other people don't change who I am. I am who I am, period. I don't care what's going on around me. I don't care who's you can't pull something out of me that's not in me, period. I'm not changing my character, my foundations for who I am, my emotional maturity. It is what it is. So I don't have hate for anybody that has ever wronged me. If you're listening, because I have stalkers, I don't hate nobody. If I ever told anybody I love them, I still love them. No matter what they've done. I know I see them for who they are and they will never have opportunity again. But that's it. But I still pray. I pray blessings for them so that they can be occupied, so that they can move on, so maybe they could transition in another way. But if they never do, if this person just spends the rest of their life dogging me out, putting me down, that's their decision. But it's like I said, it's not going to stop my path. It doesn't stop what God has for me. And it's not bringing me down. It's not going to bring me down because I'm too above it. I'm too above it. I was never on that level to begin with. So it's beneath me at that point. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, Judith Bolt. I don't know what that is. So, all right, you guys, I don't see any. Let me see. Let me tell you guys what the next two topics is. If anybody wants to make a vote on the next live chat, I should do. How narcissists view love, or why people put others down. How narcissists view love and why people put others down. Okay. Those are the next two. If you want to make a vote on which one you want me to do. I was thinking I would do the one why people put others down. A psychological, emotional maturity outlook or view or overview or run through, whatever you want to call that, on, why people are doing this psychologically. And it's not going to be shallow reasons either. Some stuff, and give you some stuff to think about because I already started my notes for that one. But I love emotional maturity, and life is full of tests, and when you have the emotional maturity, you guys, you're going to pass your tests. You don't have to be perfect, but you'll pass enough to where no one's going to get the best of you, in that way. Because you'll be able to see what they're doing. You'll be able to see them clearer than they can see themselves, honey. And when you see what's really beneath all of those layers, you might just shake your head and say a prayer and keep it moving. Because that's that. But not out of empathy, like I'm going to, feel bad for this person and bring them back into my life. Absolutely not. But you can see it. You can see it. And sometimes when you can see people that clearly they get afraid and they really have to overact and they have to overkill in their mind, because they're afraid. There's fear there. Absolutely. Because you didn't do what you could have done. You didn't out them the way that you could have outed them. You didn't respond what you could have done. Because whatever, that person did to me, I could have retaliated big time. Big time. Yeah. But I'm too blessed. Like, it's too many things, going well for me. I don't want to take the time for that. I'm good. Like, it's not touching me the way that person wanted it to, for sure. And that's a blessing, So we all get to know a Judas every now and then, but it's how you deal with it. Because I've said it before, life is what? 10% what happens and 90% how you respond. 10% what happens, but 90% how you respond. And when you get that emotional maturity, your response is going to be A1 every time. You're going to be thorough. You're going to be good. And especially if it comes from a sincere place, when you are guided by the Most High, it's going to look different when people come up, because people are going to always attack you in some shape, form, or fashion for whatever their reason. But you're going to win them. You're going to win all of the battles and the wars. When you're on the right team, you got that emotional maturity. You got enough wisdom. But all right, you guys, it was great to come on here and spend some time with you on this Saturday evening. I hope that you can learn from me on my journey. And let me know, have any of you ever actually prayed for your enemy? Have you ever prayed for a Judas in your life? Have you gotten that far in the healing process to where you could sincerely, and I mean sincerely, pray goodness to a person that is praying badness to you, is trying to bring harm to you? Have you ever gotten to that point? It takes a very big person to do that from a sincere space. So if you have, God bless you. That's beautiful. I mean, don't be, obviously, when I'm saying something like this, I'm not telling you to be sleeping, to be sleepwalking. You know what I mean? Just because you prayed for someone in a positive manner, like a sincere positive manner. I'm not talking about no witchcraft. I'm going to pray for you to hurt you. I'm going to pray for you to this and that. No, I'm talking about like you really praying sweetness and goodness and elevation and blessings to somebody else. It don't mean that you forget that a snake gonna be a snake at the same token. But you're just countering that energy with love and light, but not naivety and stupidity as well. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a way to do that and to always still just not be caught sleeping. Always being prepared for a war and a battle. Always having critical thinking and thinking ahead as well. There's a way to balance out your energies. People want to get rid of their shadow side, or they want to get rid of their, what they would call their dark side. No, a happy life is not like, I never want to feel anger. Sometimes you need to use that energy. You need to know how to tap into certain energies when you need to. Sometimes you need to be a warrior. Sometimes you need to be a soldier. Sometimes that may require some levels of aggression. You need to be able to tap into different parts of you when you need to do it. But that's balancing yourself out, because life is full of all types of situations that require you to tap into this and that. It's not all just love. It's still light. It is at the end of the day. It is. That's why people will say, I'm a warrior for God. I'm a soldier for God. Yeah. I'm slaying demons, like it's not, you have to be able to tap into certain parts of you, and that's just keeping it real. But it's the way that you're tapping in. See, narcissists and, sadistic, evil, demonic filled people, they're tapping in to evilness when they're tapping into their anger, when they're tapping into their aggression, when they're about to go into a battle. They're doing it from the most evil angle. There's a difference. There's a difference. You can fight. You can fight in all types of ways, and still win the battle without being evil about it. You could kill a demon without being evil, because in order to do that, you have to join that team. That's the whole thing about it. You have to join that team to do it. So, just watch the armor that you're putting on, because it is a spiritual war. It's constantly going on. And every time you get one of them, you surpass them, you elevate over that to where, okay, a narcissist on that level can't get you. They're going to try to send you another one. That's why I always just say life is a really big classroom. As long as you continue to take those lessons, you're going to be equipped. You're going to get more and more equipped. It's going to become like such a beautiful thing for you. You'll look back on past versions of yourself and you'll see your progression. So when Cynthia A was like, it's been a slow progression. And I was like, maybe that's not so bad, depending, because it means you're really taking your time, because you don't want to repeat that cycle. When you had your enough, you'll get to a position where it's like, I never want to experience that again. Like, I really want to get to the bottom of it. I want to take my time and get to all the steps and address everything I need to address, because that's not getting it for me. When you get to a position like that, it's beautiful, because now you're really ready to do the work no matter what. You're going to benefit from it, your children, anyone that you can pull through, because each one teach one. Like, a lot of people benefit from it, but most importantly, yourself first. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead off of this live. It's always great, like I said, to be able to drop in here and talk with you guys. I really hope that my channel is helping you guys. I have some books coming as well. I cannot wait. Some self-help books. When they are done, I will tell you more about them. I've already written 5 books already, you guys. And they're on Amazon if you look up my author name, Lakia Crawford. But yeah, I have some books coming, some self-help books. And yeah, can't wait to tell you about it. And other projects that I have going on too, but I can't really talk about those for sure until, and they're not related to the community, but it might be something that that might help you on your journey. But I can only talk about that once it's actually ready to go. But all right, you guys, I have over 1,000 uploads here. I've been on this channel, for 7 years. Find the topics that can help you on your journey. Share with anybody that you think would need. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps other people be able to, get to see the video and the content. All right. Never give up on yourself, you guys. Continue to do the work and take care until next time.